Malaga striker Sandro Ramirez was young, up-and-coming and coming off the back of a 14-goal La Liga season that seemed to hint at the early promise that had seen him break into Barcelona's first team. At £5 million, a price pretty much negotiated before his name was mentioned to Ashley, it felt like the perfect sort of Newcastle United deal. Go and get him, came the message from the Newcastle owner, only for Everton to blow Newcastle out of the water with a contract offer several times larger than the one Newcastle were proposing. Our thought was right for a player of his stature. England manager Gareth Southgate and Newcastle United's managing director Lee Charnley during the Premier League match at St James's Park, Newcastle, Image, PA, when the player in question starts to push the needle past £15 million. However, Benitez has found it more difficult to get an answer. See Nicola Jorgensen in January, for example, a potential club record deal that did not ever appear close. It is this frustration that has been at the center of Benitez's discussions with the club hierarchy in recent weeks. He wants clarity over exactly how much power he has in the recruitment process, and he wants the informal checks and balances on deals over £15 million to be removed. In short, if he wants to blow the budget on one player over the age of 27, he has to be allowed to do it. Noise is coming back from the club that Benitez will get money to spend and that there's a recognition that inflated prices mean the transfer record that has stood for 13 years is likely to, finally, come tumbling down. But that seems more to do with the fact that £16.8 million won't get you very much in the sort of market Newcastle are dealing with. With so few deals completed, it's difficult to assess exactly how things are going to develop this summer, but with James Maddison set for Leicester in a £20 million deal and Aston Villa quoting clubs £40 million for Jack Grealish, it doesn't feel like there will be too many bargains available. Indeed, a quick round of calls to agents this week to see where the land lies in this summer's transfer market suggested prices would stay relatively stable from last year, when Newcastle found prices too exaggerated to compete. If Newcastle want to buy a striker for £12 million, I don't know where they're going to find him, one agent with Premier League strikers on his books told me. £25 million is the minimum starting point for anyone with a track record in the major leagues, they reckoned. Whether or not Newcastle can or will go to that sort of price range this summer is going to be a key component of whether they make a success of the next 9 weeks of recruitment. Graham Carr once told me that he doubted the Ashley hierarchy would ever go to that sort of price for a player. He would put players into the board that would cost more than £15 million, but soon realized that there was no real will to go out and get them. It was this way that they missed out on a permanent deal for Loic Remy, twice, Michy Batshuayi, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Alexander Lacazette during the days when United shopped almost exclusively in League One. All four would have joined United. Newcastle did not come close to the asking price for any of them. Newcastle United manager, Rafa Benitez, Image, Newcastle United. It is also how Newcastle ended up with Manu Riviere in 2015, a striker identified as one for the future if he could be paired with a more senior forward. In the end he became the answer himself, as Steve McLaren's hopes of bringing in Charlie Austin from QPR were torpedoed by the price tag and injury worries. It is also how United wound up with a half-fit Islam Slimani in January. By failing to go to the price that PSV Eindhoven were asking for Nicola Jorgensen, they left themselves with precious little time, and Slimani, a player who was not on Benitez's initial wish list, became the only viable option. Benitez is hoping that they have learned those lessons and that the knowledge will be applied to a transfer market where, as he said back in November, an average striker will cost £15 million. Add another £10 million, he said, if a player scores. Benitez's realistic outlook extends to transfers, where he believes that Newcastle can do good business on a budget if they move quickly. It was notable that he name-checked Lee Charnley and Steve Nickson in the quotes attributed to him after Martin Dubravka signed, and that feels like a good sign. United did a good deal for Dubravka in January, and credit must be given to Charnley's diligence. But too often that diligence has turned into dithering, and it has often felt to insiders as if not breaking that club transfer record is a consideration when signing players. That feels unfair. United have tabled club record bids for at least 2 players in the last 3 seasons. Saido Berahino was one and Jorgensen another, and the barrier appears more to be about sticking to the parameters set by Ashley on cash flow. Charnley can spend it if United have it, in short. With money in the bank and more to arrive via sales, the caution of last summer should subside and the club's record transfer should finally be brokered. If it is, it'll be another small victory for Benitez.